Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 103-88 domination of the Philadelphia 76ers. Riker, I see the chat popping out. Pascaladelphia, they're calling it. The Toronto Raptors with that gigantic lineup of all 6'9 players, 6'7 through 6'9 guys, came out wire to wire, bullied Philadelphia. And this isn't something that's fluky, because we're going to dive into a bunch of stuff in this game because, right, the three-point shots weren't really going down for the Raptors, right? We had some things go weird, but the Raptors handled every single counter punch from Philadelphia tonight and came out and got this W on the road. Riker, how are you feeling right now?
Ben, the defense, peak. Kept Embiid 20 points, kept Maxey 12 points, didn't let a single role player go off and really do any significant damage to us. The pace, peak. 15 turnovers, 20 points off turnovers. The best part of this game, the mentality, peak. Going into a very hostile Philadelphia crowd, trying to do what's never been done before in the NBA, maintaining a lead from start to finish, and doing exactly what you needed to do, game plan wise, execution wise, to get the job done, Ben. They didn't let a single thing phase them. Achua's looking like, play the propaganda animation right away. He's looking better than Adebayo and Cheta and Kupo Chuba. I'm getting it all mumbled up because this man outperformed Embiid in the post, Ben. There's too much to talk about in this one, but everything peak.
Folks, get used to this noise, get used to this animation, because we're going to be playing it a bunch on this podcast, because it's the guy that I want to talk about first, because a lot of people were down. 3 days ago, people were trashing on all our guys. Precious for missing those free throws, all this sort of stuff halfway through the year. I'm backing up Precious right now to start, because in this game, 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks, 7-11 from the field. And Riker, I'm just watching this game saying, imagine 4 months ago, as I was hounding on this guy that people were trashing on for shooting jumpers, for dribbling the ball up the court, for trying to blow by guys and still learning, still getting his game together. Imagine 3 months ago saying, you know what? Precious Achiuwa is going to be bullying Joel Embiid in the post, in the matchups. He's going to be saying, yo, Joel, mismatch. This is a mismatch for me. Coming down the lane, scoring on him every single time. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was, because Joel Embiid, he couldn't sag on him, because Precious, even though he's 1 for 5 from the three-point line tonight, right, he's an elite three-point shooter at this point of the season.
Maybe not elite, but you got to respect it. You got to respect it.
At least, at minimum, respect it. I'm calling it elite, Riker. I'm on my Precious propaganda bandwagon. I'm playing it once more to start off this podcast, but the way he was getting to the rim, and Riker, obviously, he's always had that athleticism. He's had the defense. He's had the rebounding. That's something we knew from the jump. But the level of patience he has going to the rim, going from 100% speed to, stopping, throwing up those pump fakes. You and I on the U15 team, we'd get up there, big boy, right? Watch him go up, try to block that shot, and then Precious be finishing on Embiid, dunking it down. I am absolutely stoked with what I saw from Precious tonight.
And it's funny because the refs, Joel Embiid was respecting Achiuwa. The refs weren't respecting Achiuwa because he was getting bumped. He was finishing M1s over Embiid and nothing was getting called, but he was finishing in the lane, Ben. The thing that's crazy about this, why did we create the animation at the beginning of the season, the Precious propaganda? It was Summer League. We see him pull down a rebound, go coast to coast, dribble moves, finish in kind of that transition, semi-transition with whatever, pull-ups, Euro steps. Now to be doing it on the biggest platform against the MVP caliber guy in Joel Embiid and really outclassing him in every way. Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. And I don't think 17 points speaks enough to how good he truly played in this one, Ben, because his defense on the other side too, yeah, we were still flashing the double teams, triple teams at times, but I thought every guy did a pretty good job in keeping Embiid from getting that low post position, pushing him out, keeping him around that kind of high post. I see you looking. Is there a super chat or anything coming in here now, or are you just getting excited by the chat in general?
Absolutely late, and it's going through my head. Not many Sixers fans in the chat tonight, right? Because
they are quiet.
They are disappointed. They might watch it later tomorrow. Say hello to them, all of them. But the series isn't over by any means, Riker. But it's still time for. There's still time for people to probably buy in for people to still jump on this bandwagon. We were telling you 2 games ago. Check out the odds. Check out BetStamp if you want those proper winning odds. Use the promo code Raptors. Go to BetStamp. It's in the description of this video. They go through all of the sports books you can potentially go through and then find the best odds for any sports bet, any sport you want to bet on. We're obviously promoting the Raptors, coming back big time. If you listen to us following Game 3, if you listen to us and you found those best odds, you'd be making bank. You'd still be making bank if you go to BetStamp right now, right, and find those best odds to bet your money on those Toronto Raptors. But BetStamp, right, they're like the Trivago of betting companies, or however you want to word that, right? They go through the internet, they go through all the sports books, and whatever you want to put your money on, who you want to support, who you think is going to win, right? You want the biggest returns possible. So go to BetStamp right now, right? BetStamp/Ontario, I believe it's in the description of this video. Use the promo code Raptors, and you'll get a lot of free bets to put your money on these Toronto Raptors, Ryker. But we're deep into this podcast. We're not deep into this podcast, but we're deep enough to where we haven't really sounded off on Pascal Siakam, and we'll dive straight into that before we got a super chat coming in from Pain Causing Samurai saying, not to get ahead of the video, but when you get to the awards, kazoo for the Sixers fans leaving with 3 minutes left, never leave a basketball game early. And Pain Causing Samurai, we got a lot of things to say with the awards. We don't want to jump ahead of ourselves, but you're definitely calling out a few things we're going to be bringing up in the awards, so we won't spoil it just yet. But right,
buddy, they were leaving well before 3 minutes left in this game. They were silenced. They were furious. They were leaving probably 6 minutes left in this game, and it was probably a 9-point game. They just knew the 76ers weren't coming back in this one, mainly at the grips of Pascal Siakam, who you just brought up. Now, points-wise, not as big of a game as last game, 34. I said that. Probably you're going to see a lot more collapsing on him in this game, a lot more defensive attention, but he had a super efficient game, flirted with a triple-double, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, and every time that the Philadelphia, you said at the beginning, they counterpunched, it was Siakam, Scotty Barnes, Thaddeus Young, Achua coming back, silencing the crowd, making the right decisions. My God, Ben, it was a masterclass in high IQ basketball. Precious Achua, for those that said he's not the first option. What are you saying now? 2 games in a row, he done did it,
the
Ben.
first option?
Sorry. He could be. One season from now.
Precious Achua isn't the first option. No,
he's our first option now, baby.
He's coming. Give him a few more weeks, and Precious will be that number 1 option. The way that he is developing, but from a guy that didn't even dribble or take a 3 last season for Miami to what he's doing now, remarkable. You slipped the tongue of Precious Achua. We're talking about Siakam, but
I was of course talking about Siakam.
Yeah, you said it. You absolutely said it. Pascal Siakam, and we said it post Game 3, we're not dealing with all this nonsense. Even if we get stomped Game 6 or whatever, we're not dealing with all this nonsense of people talking about Pascal Siakam isn't this, Pascal Siakam isn't that. He has the full defensive attention on him, right? Tobias Harris is hounding him the entire basketball game. Then you got guys like Thibault, Harden, Maxey, all digging in on him whenever he makes those drives. And the decision-making from Pascal tonight was impeccable, right? When he had those open jump shots, even though he's not obviously Kawhi-esque where it's going in every single time, he made the right decisions on those jump shots. They went down. He saw a slow, fleet-of-foot Embiid, right? I see a lot of Sixers fans clowning on Jokic for sitting on the bench because he can't play defense when the game matters. That's obviously not the case with Embiid all the time, but tonight it could have been, because the Raptors, that for a stretch there in the third quarter, were just abusing Embiid's slowness, right? Blowing by him, driving straight to that rim. Siakam decided, he picked the matchups, he did everything great, and then made some phenomenal passes. Ryker, we got a super chat coming in from Azo the OK. I don't know if I'm reading that right, but Matisse not playing in Toronto is actually a disadvantage, and we're going to talk about Matisse. We're going to talk about Matisse a bunch on this podcast, but that's definitely a take you can come away with on this game that Ryker's definitely going to sound off on, I know, later on. But
we got lots of chatter. We got lots of chatter about the 76ers in this one, Ben, because we love to talk about the Raptors, but of course, just the quick aside before we really, again, not spoiling any segments, I just think it's fantastic how the Raptors were able to neutralize all of the role players in this one. Harris, 16 points. Maxey, only 12 points. He looked like a god in the first 3 games. Yep. Harden, 15 points. Danny Green, like you said, what was coach thinking? He splashed a couple threes and then didn't see the light of day after, Ben. The difference might have been, I'm surprised we haven't mentioned it yet, Van Vliet didn't suit up in this one, right? And how sweet did the defense look when we're all 6'8", 6'9", quick. Nobody's getting around our guys laterally. We all have that step. Yeah. The rotation D was amazing in this one. Shout out to the Raptors defense in this game.
Yeah. The full 6'9", 6'7" through 6'9" lineup is... You can't feast on any matchups. They're all elite defenders with long arms and mobile. You can see it. And we were sort of discussing this pre-podcast, Ryker, right? Usually, you see these games happen, especially with the Toronto Raptors over the past couple years. Since Kawhi left, right? We'd win games because we knock down some tough shots. And we have those mentally tough players to where we can do that, right? We don't necessarily have all the skill level, but we get some big shots. We play well enough defense and stuff. But the style of basketball with this 6'9" lineup team, you're not relying on a bunch of threes going down to save a game for you on the offensive end. You're not worried about any of that. You're worried about just forcing tough shots on a bunch of players. And you said it, none of the role players went off for the Philadelphia 76ers, and it wasn't a byproduct of, they shrunk in the moment. When they got good looks, Danny Green was making his open shots. Niang knocked down his open three. Tobias Harris, especially at the start of this one, was looking extremely hot, right? But the Toronto Raptors, whenever they got an inkling of an open shot, they immediately closed out. They immediately moved down, right? They try to bully their way to the rim. Hands up defense, phenomenal defense. Played through some tough calls. Played through some, hot shots from the Sixers. And that's exactly what you want to see. That's what a championship level team is capable of doing. And they're doing team basketball fluidity. I don't even know what to describe this gorgeous basketball we're playing right now.
Well, the reason why, and Van Vliet is a fantastic player. We iterated this in the last game. We want him back healthy for the next series. Both of us agree with that. Hopefully,
also helps you on defense too, with his stealing, his size, even as a shorter guy, right? He's just not healthy.
100%. But guards aren't necessarily the problem in this series. It's Tobias Harris, it's Joel Embiid. And you think about the reason the defense was so successful, in my take in this one from what I was watching, is when you have a lot of off-ball screens, right? And you have those switches that you're not really looking at when you're watching the game on the TV. You're usually watching the ball handler, right? Mm-hmm. Some of your guys are getting lost where it's going to happen that Fred VanVleet switches on to Embiid, who's trying to get post position, or he switches on to Tobias Harris. They're going to feed him in that low post. So now all of a sudden you have to do a really quick kind of switch on that help defense, which is throwing off your whole rotation, especially when the 76ers do have good ball movement. Here, you don't care. You're playing super rotation switch D. You don't care if there's a screen. You just switch, because every single person can match up down the low block. So that was so fantastic about tonight's game. They held them to 82 points in truth, and then they had a couple of burner minute points, which shouldn't really count at the end of the day. So truly, it was 103-82 in my estimations, man.
I love it, right? But and to build off your point, right? Because obviously you can have an elite defense with a smaller guard, but the Toronto Raptors' defensive prowess comes from that ferocious switchability, trapping players, moving all over the court. People don't know what's going on. It's pure chaos. And as you mentioned, even though Fred is a phenomenal defender and he can guard above his size, certainly, right? But there is that worry that you have to worry about. And there's a lot of games where Niang, Danny Green got open, especially in the first two of this series, where, Fred VanVleet, he can guard 1 through 3, I'd say, fairly well, even when he's on his bum knee and stuff, whatever. But 4 and 5, you just can't do it. It's physically impossible for a 6-foot guard to guard a Joel Embiid, right? So you have to adjust those matchups, and you're leaving the shooters open. So that's a huge plus for this defensive squad. But Ryker, we got a few guys we got to talk about before we swing into the segments, because we got a lot of segment things to dive into. But our star boy, Gary Trent Jr., man, did we miss him in the first 2 games of this series? Because especially in Philadelphia, the game feels so much slower, right? The Sixers are trying to dumb down the pace, play grit and grind basketball so Joel Embiid and James Harden can draw their free throws and stuff. But when the game slows down, and now we saw Siakam hit some timely shots as we started this podcast with, and we're going to dive into Scotty Barnes as well, but Gary Trent Jr., the threat of Gary Trent Jr. making those sort of mid-post shots and being able to knock them down, he's an immediate momentum stopper for the Sixers, right? Like, he stops the momentum of these plays when he just knocks down those tough shots.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was going to go off in this game. Didn't really happen, but there was, like you said, a couple plays where he's really the guy that has kind of the craftiest ability to shake, get around his defender, get into that kind of high post or elbow position, put up a floater, right? That seems to be his favorite shot, and the three-pointer. The couple that he made, obviously only shot 35% in this game, but the couple that he made, like you said, those really separated the game, padded the lead, got the fans out of it. So I was really happy with his performance tonight, and I think he's due for a big game as well. So maybe to look for that in game 6 for Gary Trent Jr. to go off, Ben. But you got to give out an award.
Well, we got a super chat because we are gonna sound off on an award just after this. But Adventure with Smiles coming in with the super chat saying, "Lol, watching Goran Dragic interview. What a bum." He's saying he is complaining about getting swept again, angry, crying. You sure are on a first class team. Adventures with Smiles. Goran Dragic had higher ambitions. We're going to sound off on Dragic at the end of this podcast. We're saving...
We're going to sound off on Dragic. Has nothing to do with this game. We don't need to sound off on Dragic.
Final alarm. We're sounded off on old Goran Dragic. At least this guy is. So don't you worry. The Goran Dragic roast will be coming. But as Riker said, he's getting the drum roll going right now, sir. We have an award to give out. And tonight, the Scotty Barnes Award, going to none other than the Rookie of the Year, a guy that I looked at the box score and said it probably wasn't the smart move, but I wanted to title this Scotty Barnes is a superstar. That's what I wanted to title this video. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. You look at that, great. Your traditional Scotty Barnes award-winning stat line, right? Your traditional stat line. However, the impact this guy has, firstly, speeding up the game for the Raptors, just taking the ball, driving it down the lane, catching it, being able to get a rebound. Because people always meme about, empty stats when guards, even though Scotty Barnes is big enough, he gets serious rebounds for this team in traffic. And then you don't have to worry about an outlet pass. He gets it and he goes. And whether it leads to a transition bucket, a pass, a shot, it just makes the game flow more smoothly for the Toronto Raptors. So that's one immediate impact, whether he's doing nothing out there or everything out there that's felt on night in, night out. But tonight, I had flashes of Kawhi Leonard's ability in Scotty Barnes tonight to just quiet an entire crowd. The Philadelphia 76ers, it was the most, if you were just listening to this game without audio, you're just listening to the fans, you'd think this is the worst basketball game you've ever watched. Because the fans, every time they had an inkling, they wanted to get going at so many points. Scotty Barnes come back, no look lob, oh, dime in the paint, oh, weird post hook I'm going to throw up over James Harden. Everything was so timely for Scotty Barnes tonight. What did you see from our rookie, Riker?
Timely, amazing, transcendent, Ben. They're throwing up the Magic Johnson tweets where he's saying, I see myself in Scotty Barnes, the size, the athleticism, the playmaking, the assist, the vision. I mean, you can't get higher praise, higher accolades, Rookie of the Year, impact guy. I mean, we're very fortunate that injury wasn't more serious, that he's able to come back and not miss a step at all. Because my God, Ben, some of those fadeaways that he was throwing up, banking off the glass. I mean, it's just a perfect game. Just a perfect game for Scotty Barnes. I couldn't picture how he could possibly play really any better. And especially when we threw the ball to him a couple times, right? They're playing full court defense. Maxey picks him up in the full court. I said, okay, this might be a little bit of a challenge for him. Maxey's a pest. He's a small guard. Very calm, very composed, didn't need to pass the ball away, didn't have to pick up his dribble, just, dribbled it up, nice kind of defensive dribbles, got over the half, created the offense. I mean, this was crazy, Ben. And what was even wilder is no Van Vliet in this one, right? All of our big guys, they played 2-3 zone almost the entire game, did Philadelphia. And the Raptors managed to score like it was nothing. And they've struggled against that 2-3 zone because they were getting those paint touches. They were passing the ball around really well. They weren't even hitting the three, which is crazy. Normally you're screwed if you're missing 3-point shots playing against the 2-3 zone, but they managed to make it work.
Yeah, and we got a couple super chats, and we'll talk about how we picked apart that 2-3 zone. We got a couple super chats. One coming in, $10 super chat from James Watson saying, I usually save my super chat budget for Philly chats. I'm assuming to get his voice heard as a Raptors fan. We appreciate you representing the squad, but please like this best cast. I assume that means podcast. If not, regardless, get that like spike going. In honor of Jason, shout out Jason Watson. We appreciate you. We like your comment. We'll get that. If we can like the comment, we'll get that there rocking.
We're accepting people joining the bandwagon, the Toronto Raptors bandwagon. If you do want to jump over and support the Raptors,
I think he is. Jason's. I think he's the guy that's in the chats a bunch. He's just leaving the comments there. If not, then we appreciate regardless. But shout out Jason.
Shout out.
Appreciate the super chat. And Adventures Smiles with another super chat saying, "Got to give Raps love. Do crying a rivers. Kawhi me a river. Kawhi me a rivers." Give the Raps some love. Everyone throw your W's in there for the Toronto Raptors for winning this game. And also, as Ryker brought up, breaking the zone, because I want to give some credit to a man by the name of Thaddeus Young. We traded him. You can see the old Goran Dragic meme there. The Giga Chad, the Giga Thad coming out. And how many minutes he played tonight? 16 minutes, 2 shots taken, but 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. If there was an award for Thaddeus Young, that's your usual probable stat line for Thaddeus Young. But the impact he had on this game was once again remarkable. Right? They go to these weird zones. Precious, Boucher, him and Boucher. Forget Siakam and Fred. Forget Gary Trent and Scotty Barnes, whoever they got in those peanut butter and jelly commercials. Boucher and Thad have the most chemistry between 2 players I've ever seen. Thad's throwing those no-look passes to Boucher to some slam dunks happening. Whoa, he's picking them apart, Ryker.
The friendship that came out of nowhere, Ben, I'm all for it. This game was so intense. I have my coworker. He's probably never watched a game of basketball in his life. He's watching the live, sending me screenshots of.
I think you
and
might
the
be
Raptors
froze.
wait.
Oh, you're back.
No,
You're back.
I'm back.
Yep.
All right, I'll throw it up one more time. It was meant to be. We're getting fans from all spectrums out to appreciate the Raptors here from all walks of life, whether they're basketball fans or not. It's just irresistible, to feel part of this comeback right now, because like we said, if there's any team you're going to come back against 3-0 deficit, never been done before in NBA history, it's against this Philadelphia 76ers team. Ben, Thaddeus Young, I wish he had a bigger box score, because some of his plays tonight were just electric, right?
Yep.
We flipped Kyle Lowry in reality for Chua, who we couldn't be happier with as kind of the future of the Toronto Raptors, and Thad Young, who is the rock of this team now in the playoffs. So we fleeced another trade. It took a really long time to kind of realize that, but here we are, Ben. Without further ado, let's go into the segments. We got a lot of plays to break down.
For sure. And we do have a super chat coming in from Nathan. It's not I always mess this up. He's a legend in the super chat. Nathan Myson. I hope I pronounced that correct. No words. He just says, "Let's go Raps" in a follow-up chat. But we appreciate the super chat, Nathan. Greatly appreciate it. But make sure your name is pronounced correctly. Let me know in the chat again. Give me a little reminder. I'll correctly pronunciate it after. But we got, as Ryker mentioned, we got a lot of stuff to dive into. And tonight, the spicy P-lay of the day. Ryker, my goodness, there could be thousands following this one. We brought up,
but there's only one.
Okay, you sound off. If you got only one, okay, we're about to go off on the same thing.
Go off. You go off on it. I'm just saying we got to give it to that, or what are you doing?
Scotty Barnes coming down with these no-look alley-oops. There was one moment where the Sixers fans just really got rocking for about 2 minutes, and that's where your home court advantage really just gets you going in the playoffs. That's why it's so valuable to get those upper seeds, right? And the Sixers for about 2 minutes, I think it was within 7 or 9, Ryker. What did they cut it to?
7,
right? So that's becoming a really close game. That's where you usually see a young team collapse and a team with supposedly 2 superstars take advantage and, take down your squad. But no. Scotty Barnes says, "Y'all are a bunch of fools. I'm going to come down." Whoop. And the first one was ridiculous because it was in traffic. It was full speed. There's like 4 guys.
Full speed.
Yeah, full speed. Looking almost a little bit out of control. Scotty Barnes, however, is never out of control. Throws that gorgeous lob to the first one, I believe, was Thad, was it?
First one to Thad.
Yeah, first one to Thad, and then the possession right after, we get a quick stop, comes back, throws it to Precious, slams that thing down.
Exact same play.
Yep.
Exact same possession. Another no look. 2 in a row, Ben. Those assists should have counted as 5 assists each because it doesn't come better than that. The awareness, right? And like you said, at full speed with the game on the line and a lot of, I just gets pressure on that possession to keep that team, Philadelphia 76ers, come back at a distance. That's what it did, deflated. And that's the moment that all the fans got up and started leaving, Ben. If you want to kind of sound off on that golden kazoo a little bit early, don't actually, but that you could have looked at that as a moment because they knew, right? When Scotty Barnes is out in his bag, just throwing no-look alley-oop, play after play, it's over for your team.
Yeah, we need Bueno Kitty in here. We need Bueno Kitty saying, good night, sweet Philly? Good night, sweet Philly. Because that crowd was asleep for the rest of the game following those 2 lobs. So you love to see that. But that's not the only thing that happened. OG to sink that dagger right inside of Philadelphia. Riker throws down a nasty jam to, the game was kind of out of reach. But you love to see OG throwing down dunks. Precious had a couple dunks in this one. But what I really want to sound off on top of what we just brought up, that stretch in the third quarter where Joel Embiid was out there and the Raptors just said, whoever offense, the Chris move, whoever offense on Joel Embiid, whether it was Precious, whether it was Siakam, whether it was Gary Trent Jr., they hunted down Joel Embiid and cross, blow by, layup every single time. Precious was going in, looking like Hakeem Olajuwon, throwing up pump fakes, throwing up footwork down low. You love to see that happening. Joel Embiid picking up those lazy fouls because he's tired, and that's what you want to see. Go at Harden, go at Embiid, because then they start settling for shots on the other end. The Raptors, they continue to play like this. I love what they're doing right now.
Executed perfectly, Ben. Pace, peak. Defense, peak. And it's crazy that we attacked George Niang in the last game, which made sense. And then it switched to attacking Joel Embiid. But he just looked out of it, Ben. He looked physically, mentally checked out. And I'm not going to give him a pass because of his thumb sprain and supposedly he's going to get surgery in the offseason. We have guys that are banged up as well. Thad Young has the equal injury on his left hand. Scotty Barnes, he had that big ankle roll, and that's probably a pretty nasty sprain if he took his sock and his ankle brace off. I'm sure that still has swelling and bruising on it. So I'm not giving him any hall pass, especially when he's running his mouth about the referees, Nick Nurse complaining, and then all of a sudden the calls don't go his way, and then he's being worse, right, publicly. So I just love it.
If that thumb is used as an excuse, when we didn't have our rookie of the year, Scotty Barnes, for the first 3 games of the series, Gary Trent Jr. was essentially not playing for the first 2 games of the series. Fred VanVleet was playing on one leg for 3 games, and the Sixers could take advantage, and now we don't even have any remnants of our all-star out there on the court. Thaddeus Young has that thumb thing. Get out of here, Joel Embiid. You're still on the court, and the only thing he's doing is making jump shots at this point. So you know what? No... You're kind of saying no excuses. I'm saying no chance in heck any excuses are happening. But we got another super chat coming in from Nathan Meissen, like Bison. I figured it out in the deep trenches of my brain. I appreciate it, Nathan. Double monies for saying my name right, Meissen like Bison. But sweep the back end of the series and Harden out of Philly. Embiid in a Kleenex commercial. How is the process now? How is that process now, Riker? This would be history if we do it. Obviously, we're not getting ahead of ourselves. It's one game at a time, even though you and I have full confidence. But what would this be called, right? There's the gentleman's sweep when you win the first 3 games, you give them 4th, and then you lose 5th, right? But what's it called if you win the last 4 games of a series? What type of sweep is that?
The devil sweep. It's the most disrespectful sweep possible. It's so disrespectful. It's never happened in all of history, Ben. Don't get ahead of yourself, like you said. I'm so excited after this game that my brain is racing ahead of my words. I've stumbled on a lot of my thoughts in this podcast, Ben, but we can't do that for assuming we're going to win game 6, even though it's at home, even though we've played very well defensively and made the tempo in how the Raptors operate best, right? That's been kind of the key to success, is that they've played fast. They didn't allow it to slow down. The refereeing has been sort of back to normal, pretty even on the whistle. So, but that said, it could still go either way. We saw what happened in game 3. So we gotta win that. We gotta capitalize first at home. Ben, is there another super chat, or should we go into the OGs? This is a long pod.
People are liking the devil sweep. People are saying the reverse sweep, the Satan sweep, the
Satan sweep. The Satan
super
sweep.
Canadian sweep. Because guys, we can coin the name for this, because this has never
Whatever
been done
we want.
before. This has never been done before. It hasn't been done yet. It hasn't been done yet. But if we can get it rocking,
call it whatever we want.
Yeah, we can call it whatever we want. The Embozo sweep, the Simmons sweep, the Zamboni sweep, the River sweep. I absolutely love it. Keep it coming with these names. And Nathan's coming back with more super chats. No words said. No words said, but just throwing in the super chats. I love it.
Bison like bison.
Corey Courts, we got another super chat coming in. Let's get the Newfie sweep. Jeez. The Newfie swish. That's one thing. We come out here, Newfoundlanders. We rocking out. We become Riker. If we got Team Newfoundland against these Sixers, we'd be winning this in 3.
Who's guarding Joel Embiid? You? Ben, the OGs in this one.
Yeah, we spend a long time on that spicy Pile of the day. Not all plays can be the spice of the Pile of the day, and some just make you say, "Oh, geez." And I think there's a clear one for this as well. You got one in mind?
No, what's the clear one?
Mr. Chatty's young, Thaddy Daddy, coming down. Look at and we missed a spicy Pile of the day as well. But coming down the lane. Full speed, fast break. Obviously, no Fred VanVleet in this one. You and I have sort of been calling Thaddeus Young, with except when Scotty Barnes doesn't have the ball in his hands, our sort of de facto point guard, the new Marcus Saul, yada yada yada. But came down and said, you know what? I'm gonna try my hand at some dribble moves, right? In traffic, throws a behind the back pass, ends up falling over. The ball gets wrapped around, and he throws like a wraparound pass on his back to his buddy Chris Boucher. I got my phone. I can't even emulate him
best
right
friend.
now. Because I'm throwing my phone around. But Riker, throw that around straight to Chris Boucher, who threw down the nasty slam. Made me say OGs in that one, but that was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, fair enough. His best friend, Chris Boucher, clearly, by the way that they've been playing. You couldn't have better chemistry. There's no other explanation for how their chemistry is so good, except for they must be best friends right now, Ben, because they just have this awareness for each other, this temporal awareness for where they are in space, that they'll throw that pass and the other will be there, Ben. It's sexy to watch. But Ben, we need to get into the now infamous Paul Pierce Golden Kazoo for worst performance. It's obvious. Every play has been obvious, or every award in this one. The fans, wah, the bunch of losers in Philadelphia. There couldn't be a more despicable fan base, except for Boston, that I would like to beat, and that would be this Philadelphia fan base, because gosh, they're menaces, right? And I don't think they're as knowledgeable about basketball as the Raptors fans are, because they don't seem to get as up in arms about specific plays. They just get pretty emotional about more moments in general. And they were booing their own team. It was bad.
Just don't foul him, bro. Just don't foul Embiid, bro. Oh, look at Siakam off arm. Let's not have this. I don't know. And to be fair, I love it. I don't hate any fans in particular. You just love getting people riled up, and we're not hating on anyone in specific or no fan base. It's all fun banter, but it's fun getting inside of the Sixers fans, especially when they're going at us. And hopefully we can keep this rocking. But we got a super chat channel membership for 7 months. We got the Riker. I saw it from Paul Blunt earlier as well.
The diamond.
We got some Ruby logos happening for the super channel members. Ken saying, good win, folks.
Clean.
Thank you, Ben and Riker. Keep it up. Ken, we appreciate you in those chats every single night. Legend. Shout out all the legends with getting the Ruby channel memberships. And then
shout out. 833 people watching right now. That's crazy.
Love it. Get a little like spike going. 800 people. Let's get this to 1,000 likes. If we get it to 1,000 likes, we get the OnlyFans, right? That's what people were calling for last season. But no, that stuff's huge. I also wanted to bring up, people were saying it should have been an OGs, but I was horrified that remember when Precious and Scotty, they were going up for the rebound, they scored it on their own hoop? I was going to be petrified that we were going to lose this game by 1 or 2. And that was, people are going to point to that and ruin Precious again, trash on Scotty. And then a quarter later, not a couple of possessions, like the next quarter, they're fighting for a rebound again. Boys, just give the stats to whoever you want. Figure it out before the game, who's taking those rebounds, but just don't put the ball back in the other hoop. I gave it a golden kazoo, but it could have definitely been an OG's, but that's what's happening. But Riker, is there any other awards you want to specific? Also, Spicy Pile. But yeah, you got any other kazoos?
Oh, no other kazoos, man.
Okay, there's a Spicy Pile that Scotty Barnes. You see Scotty Barnes absolutely cross up Maxey. Right after Thaddeus Young had his behind the back, Scotty Barnes threw one. Looped it around. Maxey was trying to get that steal. Came down and finished the layup.
Yes. Yep.
Lovely.
I thought he would dunk it on him, but
Scotty just does those casual fast.
It wasn't jelly, though. It was left-hand layup.
Yeah, this is casual. You know what I'm saying? He's putting it up, doing his thing. But Riker, I think we got 830 people in this chat right now. I think it's time to get off the rails a little bit.
Spike.
You gotta save that for after the alarm, bro.
All right. Sound the alarm.
That's right, the final alarm has sounded. We want to hear what you guys have to say about this game, about this series, about this Toronto Raptors squad. Right, we're hearing, and as is tradition, let's get a little like spike going. 830 people in this chat. Riker, it's pretty crazy. We got 830 people in here, and I don't think a single one of them is a Sixers fan. I don't think any of them are coming in. They're staying off the internet right now.
They can't show their face after this blowout loss. And it genuinely was a blowout loss to keep the 76ers below 100 points emphatically and play such shutdown defense on Joel Embiid. Now, Ben, you have a lot of comments to say. You're ready to throw some shade at whoever. People are going to be catching strays here now, including Goran Dragic. Start wherever you want.
Yeah, for sure. And we got a super chat coming in from Harrison saying, "Whoa, our message retracted." But he did just throw in a super chat, so we appreciate the super chat. I didn't get a chance to read it, but people are throwing out the new emojis, but I don't know. There's no questions super quick. No questions super quick.
What do you want to say about Dragic?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because we got a final alarm. It's for the fans, for people talking, people bad and bantering. But I want to go on a little rant about those Brooklyn Nets. The team Goran Dragic had higher aspirations for. Now, I know it's a little bit dragged out. It's a little bit mean because we didn't really play him, and it may have been a mistake to throw Delano Banton over Goran Dragic in the rotation at the start of the year. So there is that side of the Raptors coin that has to be acknowledged. But he did come and say he wanted higher aspirations. He did end up leaving, and then in bad taste was down there in Miami watching games, working out at the practice facility while he was still getting paid by the Toronto Raptors. All that nonsense, all to go to the Brooklyn Nets and to be swept in the first round by none other than the Boston Celtics. You know, the Sixers have their Ben Simmons drama with the Brooklyn Nets. We have our Goran Dragic drama with the Nets. I have my personal drama with the Brooklyn Nets, but how sweet was it to see the Nets get swept today, Riker?
We wanted one of those teams to be embarrassed. And when we both chatted about it in depth, we actually didn't care who. We just don't really like either of those franchises. Now, was it Dragic's fault that the Brooklyn Nets got swept? Absolutely not. Was it Kevin Durant's fault? Also not. Maybe you could look at Kyrie Irving and just his weirdness throughout the season. Maybe you could look at Ben Simmons, who to me seems fully healthy and didn't even bother to suit up to give a solid 5-10 minutes in the elimination game in this one. But Ben, more so, you got to give some credit to Boston, who just looks crazy right now. So I'd love to get out of this series, play Miami in the next round, and have Boston beat Milwaukee and play them in the conference finals. I'm telling you, it'd be a magical narrative, but I'm getting ahead of myself because we got game 6 to win at home first, man.
Yeah, we can't get ahead of ourselves. We're debating bringing out all the memes and stuff at the start of this podcast, but we didn't. We're saving everything. But we got a couple super chats coming in from Paul Blunt saying Dragic needs to buy a ring because he'll never win one. Do we give Dragic a ring, Riker, if the Raptors win a chip this season?
We have to, but we shouldn't.
No, we don't have to. We didn't give JV a ring, so we don't have to give Dragic.
We didn't give JV a ring.
Draw. Nope, not him. Not DeLon. Not any of the buys.
Bro, this franchise was built on the back of JV. That's actually a shame.
That is a shame. We should give him
He should get an honorary ring.
Yeah, an honor.
He was a part of this team.
Him and DeMar should get rings, even though DeMar was traded the season before. JV was on the roster, but then you gotta give it.
Bro,
to
he's
DeLon
killing it over there in New Orleans now.
Oh, we can sound off on JV too. We can get on him a little bit. And the New Orleans Pelicans getting over those Phoenix Suns. But quickly, we have a super chat coming in from Sikander saying we should call the reverse sweep a bar down sweep because it shows an accurate representation of the expectations for the other team for the next season. That bar is going down. So honestly, I like the names we've been getting. I like the names we've been getting for these sweeps. The Devil's Sweep. That one had me rolling earlier in this.
What's
pod.
so fun about this is actually that Brooklyn, them losing in this fashion is basically going to implode their entire team because they were built as win now.
Yep.
And then if Raptors can somehow manage to come back in this series, that's it for Philadelphia. Yep. I don't know what Daryl Morey, Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid, James Harden trade. I don't know what excuses they could possibly even come up with. So we got to get there first. But I just love the storyline the fallout that would precede this series. It'd be crazy.
This is a rebuilding year for the Toronto Raptors. Masai came out and said at the start of the year, this is a rebuilding year.
That's it. No such thing as a rebuilding year when we got Scotty the GOAT and Gary the Groat.
Gary the Groat, the star boy. Obviously, he's clear. He's going to be the Raptors Groat, unless Scotty Barnes has something to say about it. But man, this is sound off on JV a little bit. Do you think those Pellies are gonna get that W against the Suns?
Pellies are getting the W against the Suns, regardless of how good Chris Paul is, and the reason why is JV. The reason why is JV because their second best player on the Suns is Ayton, and Ayton had a pretty good game. I think he had 19 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. JV had 20 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, hit a three-pointer, right? I mean, when he's outplaying Ayton and you have Brandon Ingram closing out the game and CJ McCollum, who's just a sniper, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty solid team. And Zion, don't know what the heck he's doing. He's throwing in between the leg off 2 windmills in practice and doesn't even bother to suit up either. I'm so sick of Zion. But
no, apparently he wants to play. It's the New Orleans that doesn't want him to play, but it's because he's overweight, and then they think he'll get injured long term, and there's all that drama.
That's
so
fair.
It's
they want trading power.
Yeah, or I don't know if it's even trading power. It's just if Zion's out there at 320 pounds trying to dunk on people, that's an injury just waiting to happen. So I don't know if it's a lack of want to play, but more so a lack of want to get into the shape that he was in 2 seasons ago. So that's... I don't know if that was on the
lighting
mic,
all over
but
the
that
place.
broke my ear right there on the headphones. But you love to see that. Let's see what people are saying in the chat right now. William Chan saying saw somewhere that it was still Earth Day for Joel Embiid on Saturday. It was still Earth Day for Embiid on Saturday. I need the explanation of the joke. Will, I apologize. Riker and I are slow on that one. We got a super chat coming in from Pain Causing Samurai saying Raptors are to Embiid what LeBron was to the Raptors. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, folks. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
No. We could very well go and get blown out in the next game, and then this will be kind of embarrassing to look back.
We have the competition. We have the we have the confidence, but we don't want to jinx anything. We don't want to get too wild, but we have that confidence. Scooby-Doo saying, "Do the mayo." Do the mayo. It's a bit of butter. It's a bit of milk, Scooby-Doo. Got to get that rocking. But reply yes if you'd play Ayton in the if you'd pay Ayton the max to come to Toronto. Riker, would you pay Ayton the max to come to Toronto?
Not the max, no, definitely not.
I haven't seen many. A couple of videos ago, we had a lot of trade talks with Siakam and Fred and all that. I haven't seen much of that in this chat here today.
We'll see what happens. I don't know how you're staying awake. It's 1 a.m. over in Newfoundland. 11:30 Eastern. The West Coasters, man, they got it made. Yeah. It's only what 8:30 for them.
Y'all got it. You guys out there in BC, Shout out to you guys. That's dreams to where it's not super late doing these pods, but we're keeping the energy here. 1 a.m. St. John's in Newfoundland, getting that stuff rocking. But Gobert or Ayton, Riker?
Oh, Ayton for sure.
Yeah, you're going with Ayton on that 10 times.
100%. 100%.
You see him break all those free throws?
Who? Ayton or Gobert?
Gobert. He got bailed out by Dwight Powell missing.
Well, I think you were telling me that, and now I've started seeing it more and more, that Gobert apparently has really poor footwork, poor touch, and then it's exacerbated by obviously his teammates rarely looking to pass it to him, even if they have insane mismatches down the low block. But Ayton's an integral part of the Suns' rotation, both on offense and defense. I think it'd be a huge benefit to have him on the team, of course, but you'd have to trade like a Siakam or a Fred for him, and they have Chris Paul. You're probably not trading Fred for him, so it'd be Siakam, and Siakam's way better, so you're not making a move for Ayton. But if you could just get him for free, you'd take him.
Bring him in here. For sure. He can back up.
If he's like, hey, this offseason I want to sign for the Raptors, I'd give him some money to come and play.
He can back up Precious.
That's it.
That's what we want to see. But I also want to throw out another golden kazoo. Reminded me talking about free throws. Did you see Nick Claxton tonight? A guy that has been rumored to the Raptors a little bit over the past couple seasons. Shot 1 for 11 in a closeout game for the Brooklyn Nets from the free throw line.
What?
1
from free throw?
11. Yep, from the free throw line.
That sucks.
That's brutal.
Wow.
That's absolutely horrific. That's people joke about Shaq. Shaq was 50, right? That's 9%. 9%. 1 for 11. Embarrassing. But we got another super chat coming in from Sakura. Apologize if that is supposed to be pronunciated.
Jonas Valanciunas.
Saying Scotty building his star legacy, gets Rookie of the Year, then returning to the court to try and help leading a series comeback. Riker, I wanted to bring this up earlier in the podcast. My buddy Ali, legend, just messaging him during this game. Again, not getting ahead of ourselves. What would be more legendary? A championship or being the first, just an average championship? Not this team winning a championship, just like your average championship, Just a championship happening, your basic championship coming out. Not specifically for the Raptors. Or being the one team in NBA history to come back down from 0-3. What would be more legendary?
A team wins a championship every year.
Exactly.
No team has ever come back from 3-0 deficit.
Like, if we do this, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, but you got to win. You got to win the next game, and then you got to go back to Philadelphia. I don't even care about going back to Philadelphia. You got to win the next game.
Yeah. It's game by game, second by second. Get all that. I'm just going to be a nervous wreck till Saturday, Riker. It's not going to be healthy.
Is our game on Saturday?
Yeah. So we got a game Wednesday. And assuming we hopefully win on Wednesday. Saturdays we get a bit of rest, get a bit of stuff rocking. So
Game 7 would be Saturday.
Yeah, so we get a little break for.
It's a huge rest.
Yeah, that's gonna be good because obviously Gary fully recovered. Scotty Barnes, he's the guy we really want healthy. Fred VanVleet, from the looks of it, he says he's day by day, but doesn't think he'll be back for the game on Wednesday. We'll try to hustle back. He says. He essentially said in his interview, we can honestly, we have so much to talk about in this video and news and reports and all that sort of stuff, but he said in his interview post-practice yesterday that he's day by day, but he doesn't know if he's going to be coming back from the next few games. Next series, he'd be like, okay, I'm good for that, but I think Fred knows that if he came back and stunk it up because he was injured, it wouldn't be a good look. Fred VanVleet has been on the wrong side of Raptors Twitter, Raptors Reddit a few times in his career. Once versus the Philadelphia 76ers in 2019. He probably knows it's not the smart move to try and play through something like that. Or Thursday and Saturday. My apologies.
Thursday's the next game. Wow.
Yeah.
Bit of a breaking deep.
Yeah.
Well, Thursday's tough. My motorcycle course.
Let's get that motorcycle course, sir.
Well, the game will be on. It will not be missed. That's for sure. But Ben, we're getting, I don't know, at least me, I'm starting to get tired here. Headache. We've been going probably an hour long here, but the fan attendance in this game has been incredible. We still have almost 800 people in the watching this one. There's just a lot of excitement. It's fun when your team is winning.
Yeah, it's you and I have been hyped this entire hour just talking about this team, talking about this squad. Ryker, the style the Toronto Raptors are playing, it's sustainable. It's something we can rock out with. It's something we can just continue to push on. And we win that one at home, then all it takes is one Game 7. Anything can happen in a Game 7, as we've always said on this podcast. And let's make history. Let's make it happen, folks. But obviously, Raptors couldn't do it without you guys. We couldn't do it without you guys to do this podcast. We appreciate everyone popping in the chat. Let's get a final like spike going. Looks like we got somewhere mid 300 likes. Said 1,000 people calling for OnlyFans. I don't know if we're going to get that tonight, but it is what it is. Ryker, do you have any sort of concluding thoughts before we really... People are... I'll bring a couple of these chats. Zane saying Ryker going to bring Jenny along the motorcycle rides. Ryker going to ride a Vespa.
Love it.
We're gonna have to get Jenny on a motorcycle ride if the Raptors come back on this. But do you have any concluding thoughts on this game here tonight, Ryker?
You throwing to me for my final thoughts?
No, not the last words, but just final thoughts.
Okay, well then no.
No, nothing's happening. But okay, cool. But it should be more like 70. More like likes with... There should be more likes with 750 people. I'll throw out the like spike one last time as we conclude this podcast. But we appreciate everyone rocking out. People are calling for the Discord chat. I will fix that next video. I apologize. That gets expired, and then I got to update it. And I got a robot that automatically updates that. That'll be updated. If it's not working for you whenever you want to join, DM me on IG. DM us Raptors Digest, Ben Rogers 1. We'll get you into that Discord. Things have been popping off in there. But check out the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok. You guys want to see Ryker and I on CTV News? Those have been posted on our IG stories. Get that rocking out there. We're big time news folks over we're at CTV now. Occasionally they're calling us in. So that's something you want to check that out. Check out the Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that cool stuff. Ryker, do you have any last words on this W for the Toronto Raptors?
Time for a game of Who Said It? We're coming home. Y'all know what time it is. We need everybody locked in, Ben. Who said it?
We need everybody locked in?
Everybody locked in.
We need everybody locked in.
Locked in.
You're hitting me with these.
Achua said it in his interview post-game. We're coming home, baby.
That's true. Propaganda to end off this podcast.
You'll get it one day, Ben. Don't worry.
One of these days. At least it's not a me messing up some of my favorite songs when you're pulling out the lyrics at the end of these pods.
Oh man. Cheers.
Cheers.